Hey guys, welcome back to Classic G-Body Garage. Working on a 2001 Pontiac Grand Am. And I'm going to show you guys how to replace the fuel filter. So let me get down underneath the car and I'll show you how to handle it. Alright, so I just want to go over a couple things that you will need to replace the fuel filter on this vehicle. You'll need your safety glasses, because safety first. All sorts of debris and grit underneath this car, so once you start messing with things underneath there, all that's going to fall into your face and probably get in your eye. So definitely use the safety glasses. You will need a bungee cord. Yes, a bungee cord, and I'll show you exactly how that comes into play. A line wrench. You want to use a proper line wrench. 16 millimeter. If you use a standard open end wrench on the fuel line, there's a good chance that you'll strip out the nut on there. So use a proper line wrench on the fuel line. Crescent wrench. This is what's going to hold the fuel filter when you're using the line wrench on the line. A couple of screwdrivers. Probably only need to use one. A 1/4 inch ratchet or even a 3/8 ratchet, whatever will hold. A couple of extensions and a 10 millimeter socket. Now underneath this car, you're going to find a whole lot going on. These are the plugs right here for the fuel pump and for all the sensors that are underneath here for the fuel pump and for the charcoal canister, and this is the charcoal canister right here. Now in between the gas tank, which is right here, it's a plastic tank, and the charcoal canister, you're going to find wedged up in here is the fuel filter. And that is a very, very tight area to get to. And you're going to say to yourself, how in the hell am I going to get a wrench up in here and have enough room to loosen this? Well, what you need to do is remove this charcoal canister. And in order to do that, there's a 10 millimeter bolt right there. And this charcoal canister is extremely deep. And that's why you need that wrench with all those extensions. So let's go ahead and remove the charcoal canister. Alright, the charcoal canister bolt is removed. Now once you remove that bolt, this charcoal canister is going to want to swing down, and it will hang from the plastic lines that go to the canister. And you do not want it to hang down on those lines. It does have some weight to it, so it might damage the line itself, and those lines are plastic, or it might damage the fitting that goes to the hard line. And if either one of those get damaged and it causes a leak, you're going to get a check engine leak, which will cause an evap code, and that's something you do not want to deal with because those are hard to trace. This is where the bungee cord comes into play. Hook it into the hole where the bolt was, and I have the bungee cord wrapped around up to the exhaust hanger. So that'll give me now enough room to get the line wrench on the fuel line, loosen it up while holding the crescent wrench against the fuel filter. If you do not hold the fuel filter, you're going to start twisting this line. Now if your line is rusted up enough, you're going to end up twisting this line as well, because everything's going to turn, and you do not want to put a kink in this line, because then you'll have to replace the hard line, and that's also a very difficult job to do. So get yourself some penetrating oil and spray that down. I'm going to see if I can get it loose first. If it pops loose, I get lucky. If not, I'm going to go ahead and oil it up. So let me go ahead and loosen this up, get the gas to drain out of there, because once you crack that loose, all the gas that's inside this filter is going to come running out of there. So make sure you have your drain pan sitting below here. So once that line is loose and removed, I will show you how to remove that quick disconnect. Alright, now I have the hard line unscrewed from the fuel filter, and I have the fuel filter draining its gas down into my drip pan here. Now this is what the hard line looks like when it is removed from the fuel filter, and lucky for me, the hard line came loose without having to soak it in oil, so happy about that. Now on the end of that hard line is an O-ring. Sometimes that O-ring is damaged over time depending upon the age of the car, and you're going to want to replace that. Now you cannot replace that with any random rubber O-ring. That is a fuel specified O-ring. They're usually brown or orange in color, and if you want to purchase one, you can get those from your local auto parts store. So make sure if you're going to replace it, you replace it with the proper type of O-ring. Now right there is the quick disconnect. That green tab right there is what we are going to undo, and that goes to the plastic line on the that goes then to the fuel pump. So like I said, I got the fuel filter hanging here, dripping off, and in order to remove this plastic clip, or at least loosen it up so we can remove the fitting from the fuel filter, there is a tab. That lower tab right there, you take the flathead screwdriver and you pull that tab down, and then this part right here hinges open. It just clips shut. So you gotta drop that, pull that down, that releases the flap, and it'll open up. So let me go ahead and do that, because I cannot do that holding a camera at the same time. Alright, I have the quick release safety removed. See how that hinge is open? There's a good look of it right there. So basically, you take the screwdriver, pull that lower tab down just to release the tension off the lower tab. So you can see that just clips into place. If I push that shut, release that tab, that pops open like that. And now what we're going to do is just push this green clip that way. Now the green clip is now pushed that way, and on the back side of it, it is sticking out, and I'll show you what it looks like once I remove the fuel filter. So the next thing to do is go ahead and just pull the fuel filter out. Alright, so fuel filter is out. You do have to grab a hold of the line like this with one hand, and grab a hold of the fuel filter with the other hand, and give it a little twist and pull, and it will come out. So this is what the clip looks like. You can see on the back side of it how that clip is pushed out when I went ahead and pushed it that direction. And basically when you put it back together, you just slip the fuel filter back into place and reverse the process. So I'm going to show you that on how we go ahead and reassemble. Alright, now to reinstall the fuel filter, you simply just push it into place. You push the fuel filter into the line, and then take the back side of the clip and push it back through like that, and it snaps into place. Make sure the fuel filter is not going to come out, and then you take the little flapper door and you snap it shut, and there you go. The quick disconnect is all snapped back into place. Now as far as the other end, I did go ahead and put a little thread tape on the threads of the hard line there, and I replaced the O-ring as you saw there. So just fit the fuel filter back over top, go ahead and thread the fitting back on and snug it up. You don't have to crank it super tight, just make sure it's nice and snug so it doesn't leak. And there you go, you got your fuel filter replaced. Go ahead and put the carbon canister back into place, put the 10mm bolt back into place, and then as far as priming your fuel system, go ahead and click the key on and off a couple of times. You can hear the fuel pump turn on and off. That'll help prime the system. It will be a little bit difficult for the car to start for the very first time because it is purging the air out of the system. But there you go. That is how you replace a fuel filter on an early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s GM vehicle that have this green quick disconnect and the hardline threaded fitting as well. Alright guys, well there you go. That is how you replace the fuel filter in a 2001 Pontiac Grand Am, and of course the job is going to be identical with any General Motors of the same generation. So if you found this video helpful, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And until the next classic G-Body Garage video, keep those G-bodies or N-bodies rolling.